Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest narration of the web series The Nature of Predators. If you are new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Memory transcription subject, Chief Hunter Issav, Arxor Rebellion Command. Date, Standardized Human Time, January 15th, 2137. The humans were checking their timekeeping instruments. Kaysel still had 3 minutes to arrive for our briefing. The scrawny Arxor had no intention of lingering for an extra second of chatter, and was leaving the pre-meeting socializing to us. The command structure here monitored ship activity near our stealth habitat, which was hidden within the Harken space. Farhel and its subsidiaries were just across the border of the once Bin Shazar sector. We were keeping vigilant for any new Dominion attacks. With Kaysel's arrival still pending, that left time for Falra to poke and prod as she always did, the Dosa staying away from the general Arxor populace. I was glad that word of her presence hadn't gotten around. After yesterday's confession, it wasn't safe for her to encounter any non-empathic Arxor, and even those with softer emotions might not be fond of her. The primates had been a positive presence that grounded her socially, especially with a curiosity about mankind. Grounding our operations against the Dominion is important. We can't have the Gizno thinking we'll run, I mused aloud. Keeping our morale up is partly my outreach and partly scoring some victories. How are each of you holding up? Oleg adjusted his glasses. Seeing Arxor up closer, I don't know. I love the idea of meeting aliens, but the videos we saw of you on Earth, they were gruesome. Had no clue that you were being starved by your own government, on purpose. Guess that shows what you get for knowing one side of the story. A lesson I've preached my whole life. I've come around to thinking that you're a cool guy, Siffy, if a little bit pricky. They always taught us that the Greys were incapable of compassion. Clearly not true across the board. You're sweet. Farah's whiskers twitched, and I wondered once more how she could stand me. If the humans used Greys or sweet, I would have smacked them, but I let it slide in the Dosa's case. We're not worth the effort to collect, so the Dosa weren't your typical victims. I'd see the horrible things in the news, but they happened to someone else. My nostrils flare. I tried to be as cruel as possible for the betterment's liking, and to think of what would hurt people the most in my attacks. I brainstormed a number of those horrible things you say. I know I had no choice, but perhaps I was lying when I said fault could not be assigned to me. Yes? I don't think it's your fault. Everyone taught you that was right, just like people taught me all predators are evil. By the time you actually got real power, you were doing what kept you alive before. Millions died as a direct consequence of my orders, Falra. I've eaten prey like you alive. I executed my own kind, targeted herbivore schools on purpose, and ran cattle farms. Those were mistakes, but you didn't know there was another option, except to die. You gave the cattle back to Tava, and you want the future to be different. Don't you want to do what's right for all of us, Siffy? Yes, of course I do. You're one strange Dosa. Why are you like this? Well, I know who you are and what you've done now. The future is what matters, making things change. What do you want to do when the war ends? I never thought about it. Ask the leaf lickers. Farah turned an inquisitive eye towards the two human gods, whose wistful gazes landed on her. The thought of going home to Earth, with the war settled and opportunities abounding, seemed to fill them with a wishful mindset. I'd listened to the two describe the concept of homesickness, which I couldn't wrap my mind around. Terrans were sentimental predators, more than willing to domesticate themselves to boring pastimes. When everything settles down, I'd like to start my own business, Lisa said. Something like a coffee shop, where people can come to relax and play board games. I like the idea of bringing people together. I narrowed my eyes. That is your grand ambition. Who said it has to be grand? What's important is having a life that's fulfilling, bringing positive vibes and leaving the world a better place. Also, I thought my sister was dead for a few weeks, so it'll be nice to hug her again. We still haven't had that reunion, and it would be cathartic. Typical humans. They give better, more sensate answers. Yes, Farah. Oh, don't answer that. What's your lame ambition, Broken Eyes? Oleg scowled at me. It's like the glasses are the only thing you see about me. You're an old man. I'm gonna fucking laugh when your vision starts going. Oleg, your true vision fading is your blindness to reality. Nobody's gonna believe you worked with an Arxor rebels. It'll be another of your crazy stories, Lisa teased. Maybe I'll pitch the story to Hollywood then. Writing a book doesn't seem that hard, and it's a guaranteed bestseller. How Earth secretly worked with the Arxo all the way up to the Secretary General, while building their superweapons. All that crap about Gizno writes itself to starvation, an unwritten agreement with the feds. I sighed in annoyance.
You must have more serious aspirations than that. Don't you have people you care about?
The conspiracy theorist fell into a contemplative silence. I do. There's a human kid I'd like to see succeed. I was, adopted. So foster children are an issue close to my heart. Everyone deserves to land on their feet, you know. Kazel strolled into the room, and our self-indulgent chatter ceased in an instant. I'd been trying to gauge if there was a trace of defectiveness in him, but my new second-in-command hated socializing. He seated himself far away from Farah and the primates, taking it upon himself to boot up my messaging system. There was a file sent from the Secretary General's office, which was flagged Urgent Intelligence. I'd just spoken to Zal a day ago at length, so I wasn't sure what could have happened between now and then. It wasn't important enough to merit an in-person call to interrupt, but the human government wasn't known for their meaningless communiques. The arboreal predators were excellent at sifting through the oodles of information. Weaponized knowledge was amongst their primary fortes.
Prepare the projector, I ordered Kazel. Go on, Oleg, Lisa, any Dominion movements on the ship tracker?
Oleg leaned closer to the sensors readout. No Arxar vessel within 5 light years of the habitat. I see a sizable contingent of Federation craft which seem to be on a sweeping patrol. From the faint trails we can pick up, and known identifiers, those ships look to be Kolshian. That might be what Zal is informing you of. Earth is due to launch operations against them any day. The bastards could just be on a high alert or moving in on another UN ally, like they did the Dosa.
Do you have any thoughts, Kazel? We welcome your input, I prompted.
Kazel kept his controlled pupils on the screen. I think the Kolshians deserve to die for what they did to us. They're the party behind our starvation. They're here. We should kill them.
Prophet Descender Gizno told me that the Commonwealth conceals their true strength. We are in a vulnerable position. We must exercise caution.
After the animal you keep with you, it would be a way to prove you're not with the Federation. They're our enemy as much as the Dominion. What Isif is saying is that we should win one battle first before taking on another, Bulra chimed in.
Nobody asked for a praise opinion. You will not speak to her like that, I roared, blowing Lisa's hair out of her face from the force of my exhale. Never again!
I said I would tolerate it. I've done that, but no amount of food or threats can push me further. Do we have a problem, Isif?
No! Do not address Farah at all. If you cannot be polite, brief me on Zal's message, now!
Kazel swallowed a lump passing down his throat. He transferred the contents onto the hollow projector and allowed us to read at our own pace. The Secretary General informed us that these were intercepted messages sent between the Kolshian Commonwealth's office of the Chieftain and the Arxor Dominion's betterment office. That was enough to cause me to narrow my eyes in confusion. Since when did those two parties directly communicate? Prophet Descendant Gizno stated that their agreement was unspoken. Perhaps that wasn't the whole truth, or they'd been trying to establish back channels for some reason. The scrawny Arxel wagged a claw.
Should I play the video logs? Yes, growled.
Kazel clicked on the video clip, which showed an Indigo Kolshian initiating the conversation. Despite the wrinkles on his face, Nikonus had a way of scowling with his bulbous, side-facing eyes that made him look threatening. He folded his tentacles across his chest and turned one pupil on the camera. There wasn't a trace of fear, despite the fact that this was directed at Betterment. I wondered how the humans had gotten a hold of this footage, but there was rarely any explanation of their methods.
The Dominion interfered with our operations at Malu, Nikonus stated in a cold voice. Though we've never spoken, I thought there was an agreement between our officers. Explain yourself, or will you face the unfettered wrath as we are showing the humans?
After several minutes of footage, which Zhao had scrubbed through in the package, Prophet Descendant Gizno appeared on screen. I could tell from his locked teeth that he didn't like speaking to a herbivore. It was remarkable that he would accept a direct invitation to parley from the Kolshians. It was apparent Betterment did not want a war with the Commonwealth, if they did go to such lengths. Nikonus must have reasons to wish for the Dominion's continued existence as well.
A hiss emanated from Gisnell's throat. As your control slips, as does ours. That was an action of a rogue chief, Hunter Isif, who apparently seeks to rebel against the Dominion. He thinks that he can rule all by himself. He's blasting the tune of peace and satiety to anyone who'll listen. The arrangement with Vetman still stands. I see. Don't get me wrong. We hate you, and I know you hate us, Myconus said. The Kolshians grasp on our moral imperative to fix the galaxy, but that is a centuries-long process. These humans have been a major setback. There are untapped worlds out there. We need one predator around, and the last thing I want is a fucking Arxor asking for peace. It makes you look good. I know, it's sickening. A fat, lazy Dominion without betterment. The war must continue for the sake of our control. We're trying to hunt Isif down, but he's been elusive. I will send ships to put an end to the sycophant. We always have a few tricks behind our tentacles. Just remember your role, and you can go about your merry raiding in peace. The Kolshian ended the transmission link, and the five of us sat in silence. Kaysel looked the most shocked of us all, seeing the Dominion's highest levels openly cooperating with the Federation's leader. I was floored that Myconus would volunteer his forces to flush us out. With my past knowledge about their motives, it was easy to reconcile their actions. My push for peace was antithetical to their desire for forever war, which conveniently depicted predators as mindless drones. What would the other herbivores think if the footage got out? Surely the United Nations could use this to garner more support. They were always looking for a propaganda angle. Lisa and Oleg had returned their focus to the sensor screens, and the humans were muttering to themselves about the Kolshian ships sweeping entire systems, meandering towards us. My maw jerked with realization, and I realized the Federation was seeking out an attack against my rebellion. The habitat is cloaked, but the Kolshians seem to think that can't stop them. Myconus mentioned tricks, and even Gisnell thought that they're stronger than they let on, that they could beat us in a no-holds-barred fight. Racking my brain for ideas, I transmitted orders to all predators and warships to be on standby for combat. The slow-moving habitat wouldn't be able to outrun the Kolshians, who were a few light years out. It also would alert them to a presence definitively, and leave a clear trail if we jumped out via FTL. I turned to Oleg and barked for him to dial up the Secretary General in a hurry. The humans had sent us this intelligence, so they must have some idea of what we should do. Hello, Isif. I was expecting you might call. Zal's form was visible on screen as he rode in some antiquated plane. A slight smirk was on his face, though I saw some signs of sleep deprivation which I noted in Elias Mayer. It's surprised the United Nations as well, and I figured it would be a critical intelligence to pass along to you. It is, thank you. But the Kolshians are already coming for us. There's 1,000 of ships rooting out any rebellion assets, drawing nearer to us. Escape isn't a viable option, and I must be a critical asset for you to preserve, yes? Please, you have to help, human, I hissed. A taut grimace crossed his face, though I knew that generals of his caliber only revealed as much emotion as they wanted to. It was a promising sign that Zhao would show his concern. However, what we needed was a commitment of ships to ward off the Kolshians. If Myconus had the extraneous resources to devote to our demise, there was no telling how many total craft were under his control. I wouldn't make a mistake of writing them off as weak herbivore military. Humanity is engaged in many battles. Malu is still an ongoing affair, with a bit of standoff ensuing. The Kolshians possess drone technology, which our nanodrones neutralized. Yet we lack numbers to dismantle their fleet. They're using biological weaponry against our ground assets, so those missions have been called off. Tell your Dosa friend we're sorry it's been a mixed bag, will you? Zhao said. Falra skidded up to the camera lens. I'm glad that you tried. I don't want you to throw human lives away. We did what we could, but it's always my goal to stop senseless loss of life. I will do whatever is necessary to keep Earth and humanity safe. That is my policy, to the day I draw my last breath. Anyhow, we also have a good chunk of ships forging ahead to Kolshian and Farsul territory, which should be a vicious fight. Tack on the defense requisites and we're short on ships to spare. If you don't help us, the rebellion ends today. You're damning my species to extinction, I spat.
Earth's leader raised his hands placatingly.
Let me finish. I'm thinking aloud here. We must remain decidedly neutral at this time. We don't want to fight with the Dominion. UN vessels will not fire upon Ox or Craft. We're already warring with one giant, and Gisnell declaring war on us might bury us. Mention not the Oxel. I don't see any of ours in the count, and we can handle a few Dominion scouts. Well, we're at war with the Colchians already, so they are fair game. It's a poor example to let them go wherever they like and lash out in our territory. The Harken are a Terran protectorate. We didn't let the Oxel have Farhole, so we sure won't be letting the Federation get their tentacles on our space. We have the political cover. So you'll help? I'll help. But you'll need to come to us. I don't have assets within an hour's travel. More pure assets to the UN garrison at Farhole, and we'll handle any Colchians that follow you. To be clear, this is not an outward declaration of support. It is a one-time pact. Understood. Thank you, Mr. Secretary General.
Zhao dipped his head and signed off the call. I told Kaisel to transmit the coordinates to the Habitat's forces, while encouraging them to make a rapid evacuation. A rendezvous with the UN fleet aided our chances, though I was still nervous about the large-scale battle. Such broad conflicts hadn't been how our insurgency operated. We adopted the policy of quiet disruption due to our lack of numbers. Valra tugged at my claws, which I yanked back.
Crazy Dursa. If she grabs those stabbing instruments and I don't see her, her throat might end up like those gouged Colchian backs at a research station. It's not like the humans' weak fingers. What is your problem, rodent? I snarled. This is no time to...
Valra pulled at my paw incessantly.
I want you to know that it's going to be okay, and I want you to pick me up.
I huffed in my outright irritation, noticing the withering look on Kaisel's face. My paw slid under her stomach, hoisting her up on an express journey to my shoulder. Valra nuzzled against my chin, mere inches below my serrated fangs showed. Perhaps it would have been better to leave her at Proxima Centauri, rather than suffer this constant embarrassment. I was the leader of a faction of apex predators, not some toy. Do you trust these humans not to attack you? It could be a trap, Kaisel grumbled.
It's not. It's not pure altruism either. It's useful to them to keep us alive. They wouldn't have bothered to support us at all if they wanted to kill us. We're going to Farho, and we're going to fight, whatever good that may do.
Lisa ran her hand through her hair. Farho, that's where we were stationed before Maloo. It's all come for a circle. I hope the forces are ready to receive some Colchians. Chief Calamari's gonna get a boot on his squid behind. Have some faith, Siffy, Oleg declared. I heaved a weary sigh and summoned a warship for myself, a good leader in the Arxor tradition, commanded by example. We were supposed to be the most fearsome hunters alive. It wasn't clear if that was still true after my exposures to this inane doser, but I intended to do what I could at Farsal. The Colchians wouldn't put our rebellion to bed if I had anything to say about it. End of chapter. I would quickly like to thank our Tier 5 patrons, Dragzoon WRE, Quantum Wednesday, Ambrose Cattell, Lord Ashrakal, Bushmaster 177, Casper Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, and Arcadian. Thank you very much.